fellas. We can be that mistake. Let's do this.
What's up, y'all?
What's going on, guys?
We're Embrace the Suck 21.
Yes, we are.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Danny.
We are doing 20 British accents in one video.
What?
Now, y'all the ones with the accents, not us. Let's get that out the way right now. So, I mean, throughout, like, our journey, we've been able to see, like, what's the difference between, like, a posh accent and, like, a more northern accent.
Yeah.
Those, when you come over to America, you're generally lumped into, like, one accent, English. It's just how it is.
Yeah. And over here, different accents are widespread. Mm-hmm. You got to travel a good minute to get a different accent.
Yeah. It's very different from region to region.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now, from what we've learned and picked up, is that over there, that shit changes by the block of street you're on.
Yeah.
By
exactly.
street by street. Could have something different.
Mm-hmm. Be interesting to see which ones we can recognize and ones that are like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Let's dive in. I don't know what to hope to gain, but anything that expands my knowledge a little bit more, I'm a fan of.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Today, I'm going to give you a whirlwind tour of the United Kingdom in 20 different accents.
You watch Question Time, it's comedy. Do you want a wee bag with that?
It's hard to beat the Northern.
This is so rude.
At the Golden Globes, I met Jennifer Aniston.
I love you.
I'm the best MC in the country.
No, they're not. They are. I bet you any money they are.
I'm a massive fan of the dictionary.
They're quite important things.
I'm going to match each accent.
All right, so all of them, but my American ear just hears British.
Yeah.
Nothing else. No regionality.
That's terrible, but yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see how he breaks it down, because once our ears are trained, it helps us.
Yeah.
I feel like everything helps us.
Exactly.
We're just two fucking ignorant Americans just stumbling through this thing.
Exactly.
So the more we know, the better we get.
Yeah. It's
Let's
probably
do
the
it.
reason why you clicked on this video.
Yeah.
Accent with a famous person, show you a clip of them speaking, and then I'll teach you one pronunciation feature of that accent so that you can identify it more easily. Important thing to note as we go on this tour is that accents are very fluid. We use umbrella terms like a northern accent or a southern accent, but what we're really doing is grouping a bunch of accents together because they share similar pronunciation features. Indeed, accents don't just change from city to city or from town to town, they can change from person to person. So an approach that many linguistic experts take is to instead talk about there being an accent continuum, where as you move through the country, accents change and evolve and join at the edges. Now, I've picked out 20 British English accents that I want to look at, but as I say, there are many, many more. We're going to start with received pronunciation, or RP as it's also known. It's an accent associated with education and privilege. Now, it doesn't have a set geographical location, but it is associated with London and the southeast of England. But as a result, you can be an RP speaker from anywhere in the UK. It was once the only accent you would hear on the BBC, and even to this day, British English dictionaries use it as their default setting. Now, I've broken it down to 3 separate varieties. Now, let's start with the Queen's English, spoken by, Her Majesty the Queen.
Rest in power.
Rest in power. God save the Queen.
Yep.
And other royalty.
You can't look down to read the speech. You have to take the speech up. Because if you did, your neck would break, or it'd fall off.
An emphasis is put on clarity, with every sound being articulated in its fullest form. No drop T's here, ma'am. There's a tightness in the jaw. The Queen's lips are quite close together, and the vowel sounds are articulated at the front of the mouth. One pronunciation feature that we find in the Queen's English is the use of the or sound instead of ah. So the Queen says off, not off. Take your filthy shoes off. This is not an accent you'll hear far beyond the walls of Buckingham Palace, but if you're curious to hear more, then you can watch the TV series The Crown. We move
On Netflix. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It has to be one of the most binged watched series right now.
Yeah, especially of
late.
these times.
Yeah.
conservative RP, which is similar to the Queen's English, but perhaps not quite as rigid and formal. Now, it's traditionally been an accent associated with positions of power. So if I think back to all the prime ministers of my time, they all have conservative RP.
Brexit helped farmers in lots of ways. We'll be able to cut bureaucracy, find new markets for UK produce, lamb, beef, dairy produce, cheese overseas.
Now, one feature that divides RP and Southern accents from Northern English accents is the sound. In RP, you have and whereas in the north of England, it's just So Boris Johnson says cut, but in the north of England, that would be cooked. There's also a more modern version of RP called contemporary RP. Speakers still place a high value on articulating sounds clearly, but there is an acceptance that speed of communication is more important than accuracy. So in contemporary RP, you might drop a T or you might use a contraction, whereas in conservative RP or the Queen's English, that's less likely to happen.
Some people are quite surprised. Like, oh my God, we actually thought you were a robot. Like, right. No, I'm human.
One surprising feature is the use of the H sound. Now, in most British English accents, actually, it's not used, but in RP it is used, and you hear Gemma Chan there saying human, not human, as it might be in other British English accents. You'll notice that her jaw isn't as rigid as the other two RP speakers. Her mouth is slightly more open and the vowels are a little bit wider, and she articulates her vowels a little bit further back in the mouth. Other speakers of contemporary RP include Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, and Ed Sheeran. Right, let's have a look at...
Okay, so that little bit right there, that is why, like, RP is probably the accent that most Americans think about when they think of a British accent.
Yep.
That the most enunciated one, the one you can understand the most clearly. And that's what we all are trying to impersonate when we try to impersonate British people.
Yeah, and we always get them confused with the Queen's English.
Yeah. That's
to us, that's the fact that, man, it's just like I'm getting like a PhD in linguistics. Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
We're not even 5 minutes into
No,
this.
man, it's a lot.
Yep.
Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, and Ed Sheeran. Right, let's have a look at the accents of London. Now, as I've already said, you will find received pronunciation in London and the southeast of England. You'll also find Cockney, the traditional working class accent of London. Originally, it was found in the East End of London, but now you will hear it throughout London. And as people have moved out of the city, you'll find it in surrounding counties like Hertfordshire, Essex, and Kent.
You watch Question Time, it's comedy.
Were you no clearer when Jeremy Corbyn
No,
explained
I ain't got the
Labour's
clue.
policy?
No one knows what it is. It's like this mad riddle that no one knows what it is, right? So what's happened to that David Cameron who called it on? Let's be fair.
I
think you're referring to our former Prime Minister.
Yeah, but how comes he can scuttle off? He called all this on.
Yeah.
Yeah?
He has.
Now, there are many interesting features of a Cockney accent. The classic one that probably you know already is the glottal T. So that's when you turn water into water, or daughter into daughter. Now, Danny Dyer uses another feature that I find really interesting. He uses the vocalization of the dark L. So with the word called, we're using a dark L, ul, but he vocalizes it, so it becomes a called. He also says riddle, right? Not
The
riddle,
W.
riddle. To me, it's like almost like a w sound. So tall becomes tall. Ball becomes bull. Now you'll also notice that the vowel sounds are articulated with a wider mouth, right? So it's bull, tall, right? It's like that. Okay, so wider vowel sounds. Now, if you want to dive deeper with the Cockney accent, then I suggest you throw Danny Dyer's name into YouTube, check out any clips with him speaking, or you can check out the long-running British soap EastEnders. Next,
that is something that's been thrown at us a lot is EastEnders. And I kind of hear the kind of lower classness of it. I just kind of picking it up, maybe just, doing this Americans React thing for a while. I pick up on the kind of lower classness of it.
I just hear
British, right?
Yeah. I'm just you know what? I'm not gonna fuck it. It reminds me of Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. Okay.
Like where they're going through different markets and you hear different kinds of accents, but it's all still the same accent but different accents.
Yeah. I think that should be an interesting game that we play is like, what accent does this remind us of?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good example. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to look at Multicultural London English, or MLE, as it's also known. Personally, I find this the most fascinating, but it doesn't get as much attention as other accents. Now, that could be because it's quite a new accent. It's sort of evolved in the last 30 to 40 years. As the name suggests, this accent reflects modern-day multicultural London. It's spoken by London's young multi-ethnic citizens. It draws its influences from Cockney and also from the large immigrant groups in the city, like the Caribbean community and the South Asian community. You put all those influences in one beautiful melting pot and you get MLE.
Like, as a rapper and an MC, you always kind of get the side of like, yeah, like I'm the best MC in the country and all of that. And then, but a lot of the time you don't like. It is very heavy. Like the duty that I sometimes feel like I carry can feel overwhelming.
The one feature that we heard there.
Yeah, we've done a few Stormzy reactions on this channel, and
that was early on.
It was very early on.
When our ears were not tuned in.
Yeah, like, we would have to probably do them now.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, I'm hearing the Cockney in there, but, probably mixed with his, I don't know where Stormzy's from, but wherever he came from. But, so it's mixed with something.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, like, the only other person I could think of with that kind of accent is Herman Lee, the guitarist from Dragon Force, who does a lot of streaming on Twitch and on YouTube. You heard the song Through the Fire and the Flames? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only one I can think of. He's also, I don't know which Asian country he's from. I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth for once. And so, yeah.
There from Stormzy is the D sound instead of the. So he says that, not that. Other speakers of MLE include Raheem Sterling, the England football player, and Akala. And if you want to watch a TV series with Multicultural London English, then I recommend Top Boy on Netflix. And of course, if you want to go deeper with this accent, there's a whole section in my book dedicated to Multicultural London English. Let's quickly skip east to the county of Essex, where the accent is quite similar to Cockney due to the large number of people that moved from the East End out to Essex after the war. Now, the two accents share many pronunciation features, including those wide vowel sounds, but Essex speakers tend to close off the ending.
For them to write that about us Essex girls, we are not happy.
No.
So keep us in the dictionary, but please change the meaning. And I think it should say an Essex girl is smart, sassy, fun, and striving hard in life like everyone else.
You can hear Gemma Collins there using that vocalised dark L on girls, and also that glottal T on about. If you want to hear any more of the Essex accent, there is only one place to go. The TV series, The Only Way is Essex.
Yeah, I hear little more brightness in that accent. Like, that's maybe my ears are deceiving me, but that's what I'm hearing is brightness.
Your ears are better tuned for that, and I feel like that is the artist in you.
Yeah. Link to that up there.
Yeah, because I'm just like, huh? Like, try not to be so just dumbfounded, but at the same time, I'm like, dude, I gotta watch. This is one of those ones I had to watch a couple times.
Yeah, you gotta love it about this channel. There's like two different perspectives on it.
Yep.
Gotta love it.
Yep.
In the west, we have the beautiful counties of Somerset, Dorset, Devon, and Cornwall, all with their own subtly different accents. One famous exponent of the West Country accent is Hagrid from Harry Potter.
Oh.
The owl that delivered my release papers got all lost and confused. Some ruddy bird called Errol.
One unique feature that you will...
Hagrid! Yay! You're not a Harry Potter person, are you?
No.
I got happy for it.
I'm glad you did, man.
Yeah.
Here with this accent is that rhotic R. Now, in most British English accents, it's non-rhotic, so we don't use that R. But in the West Country, that R is pronounced. So car and far. This pattern is mirrored in the city of...
That's probably why when I first watched Harry Potter, I thought Hagrid had an American accent because he pronounced the R's in car.
Yeah.
Like that's like sounded very American to me. It wasn't until much later that I learned that he's actually British and that all the Harry Potter cast was British. In fact, Robin Williams was considered for the role of Hagrid, but the directors wanted to keep it all British. So that's why it didn't go to Robin Williams. Bristol, let's go.
Bristol, where R's are also articulated.
Oh, I'm such an Aquarian. I can never let things go. So we'll talk, and then I'll say, "Remember when you did this, this, and this, and this, and back in 1985 you did this." So yeah.
Is that why you're single now?
Probably.
You just broke up again recently, didn't you?
No, we ran off with another bird, and then yeah, I've got dumped again.
Did you hear how she said bird there? It was bird, bird. I would say bird, sort of sound, but she pronounced that R, bird. To hear more of the Bristolian accent, I really recommend checking out Gogglebox, and in particular, Mary and Marina, some fantastic characters. Moving into the middle of the country, we've got Britain's second largest...
Oh, Birmingham, Peaky Blinders, Thomas Shelby.
Brummie.
Yes.
All right.
Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
No, I'm just looking at Brummie.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Birmingham, where the accent is Brummie. Now, it's known for its nasal quality due to the heavy industry that used to be there, and also its sing-songy intonation.
It was so funny, but the last time I saw you was really in 2002, and you were the first person to interview me.
Coming out of the house.
We couldn't find that clip, but don't worry. I've found an amazing clip of something I'm going to show you a little bit later. Shall I show it you now?
The way Alison Hammond says last there is a great indication that we are moving further north through the country, because these A and R sounds divide the country. So in the south of England, you would have R, it would be last, but in the north of England, it's last. And because Birmingham is in the middle, it actually goes with the northern pronunciation, so it would be last. So in Birmingham, you would hear last, Bath, and chance. Other Brummie speakers include footballer Jack Grealish and comedian Lenny Henry. As we edge further north, we get to the East Midlands cities of Derby, Leicester, and Nottingham. And because of their geographical location, these accents sit somewhere between the Midlands and the north.
Let's just get some young players in here who actually love playing for Arsenal, who actually love the shirt, love the badge, and are actually prepared to die for it almost by going out there and, as you said, Mike, putting in tackles. I'm like, just showing that they care.
One feature that I found in Jermaine Jennings' accent is the diphthong air. So he says, he kind of elongates it and he sort of widens the mouth a little bit. So it's kind of air. So it's there. Okay, that's a bad impression. Let's get Jermaine to do it again.
And are actually prepared to die for it almost by going out there.
As we move into Yorkshire, we encounter accents that are characterised by the squashing and omitting of certain words and sounds. So I'm going to the shop would be I'm going to shop. Let's start with South Yorkshire and Louis Tomlinson.
Northerners probably are better than Southerners. Southerners are great people, but it's hard to beat the Northerner.
You've seen Eat Sleep Dream English before, you know that I love Louis Tomlinson's accent. It's so rich with different pronunciation features. One that I want to pick out is the way that he uses V on the TH, the sound. So instead of Northerner, it's Northerner. Instead of Southerner, it's Southerner.
Northerners probably are better than Southerners. Southerners are great people, but it's hard to beat the Northerner.
As we move to West Yorkshire, we've got Zayn Malik from Bradford, and he elongates the diphthong A. So he says stay and wear and pay, rather than stay, weigh, and pay.
So he loved like dressing up in suits and like wearing like specific tie done a certain way.
Then if we move to East Yorkshire, we've got Jenny and Lee from Gogglebox.
National Health Service can't get the masks, so how are we going to get them?
I've made one.
What out of?
Hey, it's really clever. And you don't need no sewing, no nothing. It's like, you can make it within a minute.
Right. Oh, you can make me one then.
I'll show you.
So here you can hear the elongation of another diphthong, O. It becomes no and sure. Very typical of a Yorkshire accent. You'll also notice that that sound is articulated at the front of the mouth. So no and go. If you want to dive deeper with the Yorkshire accent, then of course Gogglebox, Jenny and Leeds, fantastic. There are also two sisters from Leeds who have a fantastic accent. Of course, Game of Thrones is a fantastic place to hear the Yorkshire accent as well. If we hop over the...
Okay.
This is Sean Bean.
Sean Bean? I have no idea. Yeah, oh yeah, I didn't watch Game of Thrones, so...
Did you watch GoldenEye?
No, I didn't. No. But we've seen interviews with Alex Turner from Arctic Monkeys.
Okay.
And yes, that's... I was starting to pick that up. Like, I couldn't quite figure it out. But it's like, oh, Alex Turner, Arctic Monkeys. Love him. Gotta love it.
Pennines, we find two huge cities, Manchester and Liverpool. Now, despite being only 30 miles apart, their accents are very, very different. Mancunian tends to be quite nasal and borrows lots of pronunciation features from other Northern English accents.
You know, it's the first game, and I think the concentration and intensity that we showed today, we have to take forward into the next games also in the Premier League.
Here we hear Marcus Rashford using one of the most typical Mancunian sounds, and that's the I sound on words ending in Y. So he said intensity, not intensity. So that sound in other words would be like city and pretty. The accent in Liverpool is known as Scouse, owing to a local dish there served to sailors. Now, it's an accent that has been heavily influenced by the Irish community that settled in Liverpool in the 19th and 20th century.
That's how I was starstruck. At the Golden Globes, I met Jennifer Aniston.
This feature is uniquely Scouse. It's that fricative k sound. So she says starstruck. Struck is that sound. So in other words, it'd be like bach and buch. Very different from any other British English accent.
Interesting.
Moving up to the northeast,
All right, before we get into that, those are the two accents that I was actually looking for this video. It's both Mancunian and Liverpudlian, because, you know, Mancunian, we've talked about the Gallagher brothers, Oasis, and Carl Pilkington, both from Manchester. So so I'm starting to hear that, and also Liverpool, the Beatles.
Yep.
And
yeah.
So
interesting.
It's funny he mentions the Irish influence of Liverpudlian, because you know, all the Beatles have at least a couple of them have Irish names. John Lennon, McCartney, Harrison. Well, not Starkey, but you know, that's
what was it called? Scouse.
Scouse, yeah. So I was looking for that, and now Geordie, which apparently that's Sam Fender, and the the British spin-off of Jersey Shore, which is Geordie Shore.
All right.
Remember that?
Yep.
we find Geordie in the city of Newcastle and the surrounding area. Now this has numerous pronunciation features that are different from anywhere else.
So we changed it a little mix and we hated it at first. We were like, oh, it's game over, our career's over, Little Mix, it's the worst name ever. But now we absolutely love it and we wouldn't ever change it.
One really distinctive feature of this accent is on the words that end in ER and OR. They are pronounced with an A sound, not an sound. So Jade says over and ever, not over and ever. Other Geordie speakers include TV presenters Ant and Dec and Cheryl from X Factor. And of course, you can check out the TV show Geordie Shore. As we move over...
Yeah. I was about to say also, when I saw Sam Fender last month, like, when he was talking in between songs, like, I couldn't fucking understand a word he was saying. I guess that's the one accent I'm having the most trouble with, is the Geordie one.
The Geordie accent?
Yeah.
As long as someone can talk slowly, I got you.
Yeah.
But when they start rattling off just fast, it's gone.
Yeah.
I lose it.
Yeah,
I lose it.
Like, good thing I was there for the music, not for whatever the hell he was saying in between songs.
I mean, it really took me a little bit to get to understand the Gallagher brothers.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what? It was so different.
It's a very different accent than other British accents that we're used to.
Yeah, man.
Over the border, we encounter numerous Scottish accents.
Oh, God. Let's just take a moment here. Get ready for Scottish.
All right.
Woo! Here we go.
accent is the Glasgow accent, a personal favourite of mine. It possesses wildly different vowel sounds to most accents in England, and the R is tapped, meaning that the tip of the tongue hits the alveolar ridge, the roof of the mouth, as you are articulating it. Here's actor James McAvoy with an example.
David Percival has gone feral. I think he represents a breed of operative who kind of gets way too seduced by the environment instead of the job.
Other Glaswegian speakers include legendary football manager Alex Ferguson and comedians Billy Connolly, Kevin Bridges, and Frankie Boyle.
All last three have been on the channel before.
Yep.
Links to at least one of them's probably up here.
Yep.
50 miles east, we find Edinburgh, where it's said that the accent is a little bit softer than the accent of Glasgow.
They literally go and hide, and they stop trying, and they stop competing, and they allow themselves to be shrunk.
A feature that we find here is the common use of the dark L. So Shirley Manson here says allowed, not allowed. So it's a dark L, not a light L on the L of allowed. Another word would be like look. So it's coming from the back of the mouth with the tongue down rather than allow at the front of the mouth. Scooting back down south and across the border to South Wales, we find an accent that is much more sing-songy in nature than other British English accents. It's almost musical in its intonation, and this is in part because of the influence of the Welsh language onto Welsh English.
It wasn't the nicest. It was quite a cheap B&B, and I think I was the only resident. So when I turned up, the guy in like sort of tracksuit bottoms, he was like, right then, you're in room number 1, ground floor.
A feature that can be found in South Wales is the doubling or extension of a consonant sound that comes between two vowel sounds. So Ellis James here says bottom. I think about the word city. Again, terrible impression, I apologise. But as you can hear, it's a kind of doubling of that consonant sound, that T sound, that's very distinctive to the Welsh English accent. Finally, let's hop over the Irish Sea to Northern Ireland and Belfast in particular. Now, this is one of my favourite accents in Britain. It has such character to it. Northern Irish English is heavily influenced by Scottish English, and that's due to the number of Scots that moved over and settled in Northern Ireland. As a result, there are many similarities between the accents. Perhaps the most distinctive feature of Northern Irish English is the diphthong ow, as in how. Let's hear how Jamie Dornan says it.
I once tried to do a whole conversation with these builders who were working at my dad's house by only saying boys a dear to them.
Right, Jamie Dornan said house. So it's a kind of slightly more closed, shorter sound, isn't it? House. So how would be how, and now would be now. It's a very distinctive feature of the Belfast accent. I love it so much. Let's hear Jamie Dornan say another phrase.
Like, how about you? Like, how you doing? Like, how are you, basically?
I'll tell you what, man. This is a different kind of video.
Yeah,
that we've had on this channel.
Yeah.
This video took this man a lot of time.
Yeah, it's a very linguistic one. Very cerebral one. One that probably took a lot of time.
Yeah.
So kudos. Let me acknowledge the channel. Eat, Sleep, Dream, English.
Hey, man.
2 thumbs up to you.
Dude.
Man, favorite one's probably both Liverpudlian and Mancunian. Because my favorite entertainers come from those cities.
And I'm just going to say yes.
Yeah?
Like, I still have to watch this video when it comes out a lot more times.
Okay.
To pick up my favorite, because
your head hurts.
It's a lot. Like, I don't know what he said, but I understand it. And it's just, like, massive that you have so many different accents.
Yeah.
In something the size of a quarter of Texas.
Yeah, of one of our states. For real. Yeah.
And it's just wild.
Yeah.
Just wild.
Yeah.
Because in order for us, I mean, you could travel down the East Coast and get a couple.
Yeah.
You know, you can get New York. You can get
Boston.
East Coast.
East Coast, like
Jersey,
Maryland.
Yeah.
But then, like, you get past, like, Richmond, down south to, like, Georgia, and then those are pretty much all the same
Until
southern
you get
dialects.
to Florida, and then that's different.
Yeah, it's a whole different.
It's a
world.
different. I don't even know if you would call it southern. It's just like
Yeah, even Texas accents are different.
different. Yep.
Yeah, and there's even like a Californian kind of vernacular.
Yep. There's so many, but those are so far spread.
Yeah.
Which you can understand where those accents came from because they're all linked to port cities.
Right. Exactly.
And you get it. It's like okay, I understand. But this is like it's so close together.
Yeah. Like,
And it's just mind-boggling.
you could drive 20 minutes and have a completely different vernacular.
Wow.
Which is insanity.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm admitting that I still have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And I'm still far away from picking out someone's accent to where they are from.
Yeah, same here. You
You know?
know, you get past America, like the North American continent, north of Texas, like you've lost me. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, just if it wasn't for this channel, I wouldn't be able to pick out the ones that I did already in this video.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But this is super informative, man.
Yeah.
It's not something that we usually have on this channel, but it's great. It's good to learn. It's good to fucking learn.
Yeah.
Once in a while, man.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, thanks guys for
Yes.
liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell, and sharing with your friends.
Definitely, guys.
And until next time, wash your hands, scrub your toes, wipe your ass, blow your nose, embrace the suck.
Unplug and do something epic.
We'll see y'all next time.
Later.